Hello, let's do Wordle for Thursday, May 14th. We're going to start building back up our streak. Unfortunately, I did lose yesterday, but we did spin the wheel and it said to start with snake. All right. We have an A and an E. My thought is just shift them both to the left. It could be an ER word. I'm going to see if it's possible to avoid ER at least one for one guess here. Common letters besides the R are T and L. That's about it. C and P we could introduce. Maybe an H. Let's see. So with the AE, what would we want to do? We could just do like an EA word like this too. I mean, heart comes to mind. It does introduce the R, but at least it's not at the end. Let's see if there's anything else I can do. Maybe like felt. Do I like that? I don't mind it. It's not a word. Felt is like that. I thought maybe there was a felt spelled that way, obviously, or I wouldn't have tried it. Now that I think about it, we could do dealt though. All right. EA is not there. Oh, EA couldn't have gone there. Oh no. Okay. Well, that was a hard one filler. It lets you repeat yellows in the same spot. It lets you reuse grays. I could try the EA here, which is probably what I should have tried. At this point, I am going to try the R. I could also do an AER word, but maybe... What are we ending with, though? D is gone, L is gone, T is gone, N is gone. Dream, but D is gone. I think I might just have to do an AER word today. Or let's see. What do we want to try for? Maybe a C or a V or a W. Waver gets rid of the W and the... Are there a lot of AWERs, though? I don't think there are. A VER, there's... Actually, maybe not. Caver, I think, might be accepted. Paver, caver. What if we guess caper, then? Get the C and the P. Okay, it is AER. I'm not surprised. So this is why it's called a trap, because we only get 2 letters per guess. We got to be really careful about what we're doing. Caver and paver are gone. So I don't know if there's another aver. Well, there's waver, I guess. There's waver. But again, I don't think the W is all that useful. I think there's probably more powerful guesses to do. I'm starting to think whether I could have avoided the R for longer, but I couldn't think of anything. Gamer is an option. Does gamer get you anything else? Like, is there another G? Like, oh, there's wager. So there's wager and waver, and there's gamer. So wager could be good. Because wager tells us about waver. Gamer only tells us about... Gamer tells us about wager. Wait. What is wager? Yeah, wager. Like you wager on a poker bet or something. Okay. For a second I was like, wait, is that a real word? Gamer, wager, waver. I think wager is going to be the way to go. So is it waver? It is waver. Okay. Didn't lose today. We started our streak of 1. They're just like... They've been picking words that are just streak ender after streak ender after streak ender. I thought of waver like here, or maybe even here. I don't know. But like I didn't have a justification for guessing it. It didn't seem like a good guess. And it probably was only a good guess because it was the answer. All right. Well, before we do anything else, let's spin the members wheel and see what tomorrow's starting word will be. Alibi, suggested by Olivia Evans. All right, so if you are playing along, we will be starting with alibi. Let's do some analysis here. So the answer was waver, and I guessed snake. Apparently, oh, I do have an analysis, but this says eclat's the only way to avoid losing, but that's probably not true with a little bit more time given. So let's check the analysis for snake here. Once my email loads up. All right. Let's see. It says cleat is actually the best. This says it loses, but it doesn't actually if you do the right guesses. Eclat, Delta, Regal. There's plenty that don't lose. I did Delt, which honestly is a hard mode filler, so it might not even show up here. It doesn't. Okay. So it's not considering Delt as a follow-up. Let's see what this has to say. It's saying I can still win, but I have to do Rager. Otherwise, we're going to lose on AER. Specifically, Rager on these. I did Caper. Is that even on the list? Doesn't seem like it. There's 33 words left. Okay, after Caper, we are in that AER trap. It's worried about Gayer now and Rager, things like that. I did Wager here, which was, one of the best chances of winning at that point. And after that, it was Wafer or Waver. So actually, I could have, the answer could have been Wafer, and I could have gotten a 6, but I wasn't going to lose. There's an unlikely Waxer. If I had guessed Waxer and then Wafer, I would have lost. All right. So again, with the ER trap, sometimes you just got to get lucky. Just roll those dice in hard mode. From Snake, this says to follow up with, what was it? Cleat. That's a fun one. That's a way to avoid. That's a way to do that EA in that spot. I'd already gotten rid of that with Delt. Delt wasn't good because it repeated the A in the same spot. So now that the EA isn't there, it's going to avoid the ER again with an ED, with gaped. That G seems high value for the AER. I should remember that. And then now from here, we're down to bearer, harem, rarer, raver, wafer, and waver. And somehow raver gets them all. Let's look at that. So raver is going to have two, if with bearer, it's going to have two R's, but the R is going to be in the middle. And that's the only one with R in the middle. Wait. Oh, and then it's not rarer because this R would have been green for rarer. Okay, harem. It's just not going to end in R. It's the only one that doesn't end in R. Rarer will have the two green R's. Raver would be the answer. Wafer. Wafer is just the odd one out if the R and the V are both gray. And then waver is if the V is green, but we don't have the R up front. Now, there are 23 unlikelies here, but raver gets us there. But it's still a 5, still the same number of guesses that I did. All right. So these small percentage gains for optimal guesses sometimes don't actually translate to fewer guesses. It's just on average over a lot of games that it does. All right, tails. It's going to go right into the ER with Rager. Interesting. So it's that G is very that G is very high value, as well as knowing if there's another R is high value. And from here it's doing caper, which is actually something I guessed. And then now we're doing fader. We're down to 7 words. And now it's baker or maker. So we're down to baker, maker, waver. This is why thinking about guess 5 is important. Because if we just said, pick any of them, and we went waver, we're now down to a 50-50 on guess 6, baker, maker. But if we think about it and we go, okay, the 3 words left are baker, maker, waver. So I better guess baker or maker here in order to have them get each other. And if it's not the K, then it's going to be waver. Otherwise, if the answer isn't waver, you go waver here. You haven't actually distinguished baker and maker. And so now there's a 50-50. So your guess here makes a huge difference for whether you're guaranteed to win or you're going to lose half the time. So anyway, and we hashtag all greens, hashtag no yellows on this solve in 6. Yikes. Those ER traps are just nasty, especially when you immediately lock in the A. All right. A dupe. We have the yellow A, we have the green E. We're going to try our best to avoid ER, although we're already losing on like AER. Just a DU loses 96% of the time with an optimal filler follow-up. And it's just saying do tails, do the start I normally do, but now we're behind. This is why I don't understand the comments of find the vowels, then fill in the consonants. Okay, but you might lose if you do that because there might be too many options and not enough info per guess. Anyway, now we're actually at a lower solve rate because we got into a bad path here with that AE and no TLS. So we're going to go pager again. That G seems high value for AER. I need to remember that. Now we're going to test for double R with bearer, and at that point we actually won't lose, which is lucky. Faker or wafer, and then we finally get waver. So it's a 6 for a DU as well if you guess really carefully. Audio. What's interesting about audio is it doesn't have the E, but this table is going to walk into it anyway. At least we aren't getting the R and the E at the same time. Then from table, we're going to go rager. That sounds familiar. And then we're going to go paver. From there, we could be saver or waver. So it's going to be a 5 or 6 to 50-50 on that. Okay. We're going to do stare here, which gets you the AER right away. That's not a good sign for stare there. We're going to do double R with the C, racer. Where logger actually has a much higher chance to win than these other ones, so that G is high value. Now we're at a 90% chance to win with faker or paver. If we go faker, we're still going to win, I think. No, we could do faker, paper, waiter, and now we've lost. So there are some paths of equally good guesses that do lose. So it depends. That's the problem with hard mode and having ER in your start. Trace also has ER in the start. I think what's interesting is Trace has a way out because it hasn't greened them yet. We're gonna go Regal. And then Fairs. Notice we were avoiding putting the R at the end so far. And then Paver, and then Waver. All right. So it gets into 5. All right. Finally, Clasp. It's just going to have the A. We're going to go Rated. So we are going to test that R, but we're not going to put it at the end yet. Then we go Gamer. That G is good. And then Baker, Wafer, Waver. So like a 5 or a 6. All right, really tough day today. Waiver is not easy. Okay, let's check with the official bot and see how people are doing. What's the solve rate on waiver, I wonder? Just like really trying to just reset everybody's streaks. Nasty, nasty. Waiver is the word. Let's analyze hard mode first. Give me a 91 skill. 42 luck. Okay. I'm going to start with Snake. 129 others. Tread is most common follow-up there. I don't think anyone else is going to do Delt because it's a mistake. Pleat later. Just go right into the AER. Sure. Cream. Clear. Which one has the highest steps to solve is this one. Clear. Alert, plead, cleat. Lowest to solve is plead and cleat. The ones that don't lock in that R yet. Pleat also, but it's pretty low. Yeah, once we lock in that R, we get fewer information per guess. It takes us more guesses on average. Caper was a 98. Would have been one of his top picks. Pager is the best. Wager, solid guess. Give me an 88 for it. It would have gone Rager. And now I won with Waver. It would have guessed Wafer. Interesting. Okay. Clasp, Tamer, Rager, Faker, Waver. Is that similar at least? No, Rated, Gamer. It's different. It's pretty different. All right. 0.3 starting with Waver. 1.4, 7.9, 23.1, 45.7. Ooh, worse than yesterday by a lot. 74.7% solve rate. People losing on what you'd expect. Wafer, wager, waxer, waiter, waker, raver, caver, baker, haver. It's such a nasty trap. So nasty. And I think it's particularly bad for a DU. and a do being a popular start really oh my gosh, 25% of people just losing their streaks today. All right, well, let's refresh and see how bad it is in regular mode. it it shouldn't be as bad, but it will be worse, because people should, if they're not going to play hard mode, they should be doing fillers on the error trap. It's going to be a much lower skill score because it's saying, hey, two filler, two filler, two filler. Here, alter is a filler. It's an interesting one with two A's. I don't know why you do that. People are following up with Earth, Dream, Great, Later, Tread, Bread, Pleat. What is the lowest? Later is actually the lowest steps to solve at 3.1. Just walking right into it. Maybe in non-hard mode that you can just do a filler. Caper, no one else did it. 95 skill, wager 86. It would have done rugby, just a pure filler. All right. It does slate ramen. It realized it's the ER trap, and so it goes guppy. I guess the double P checks for paper, but still. And then it does forks. So it does two fillers to just say, hey, I don't feel like doing this ER trap. Let's just get all the important letters with guppy, forks, and then we'll guess waiver because it's the only one left or something. All right. Waiver 0.5% starting with that. 1.6, 7, 20.2, 41.7. Look how low that is on turn 5. Do I want to see what turn 6 is? 71. Holy moly. I don't think I've seen it that low since I've started doing bot analysis. I know Pairer had like a less than 50% solve rate, which again is AER. And also an uncommon word that people don't know. Well, at least waiver is a word people know. All right. But maybe not one you'd think of immediately. Wow. Okay. Well, did you survive the streak copolypse, yesterday's and today's word? If so, let me know. All right. And how'd you do?